This produces this sensitivity to infinity, so to speak.
Yeah, this is infinite. Yeah, that's right.
And
This is what enables. Go ahead. Okay.
and so this is comparable in the martial. This is the helm. The total awareness of this infinite awareness is a helm state.
Well, see, the point is, it's not helm. This is what's called helm sheinu b'mtzius. There is nothing there. The helm you're talking about is, I said, in this helm there's sphirot. That's a further step. That's when you're already within the helm, you're identifying a certain location.
Okay, so this you're okay, so this is now where there is this is already, so to speak, a tzimtzum.
In a certain sense, yes. Yeah, because you're limiting your awareness from the entire reality just because it's real. But you're focusing on some person identifying a place. That's it seems.
It's a tzimtzum that nonetheless retains a helm effect.
That's right. That's right, because it's within the Ein Sof. Because that location, you're aware of this location as part of the Ein Sof. When you start contemplating, saying, I want to be there, or the next step, I want to get there, then it's in a different level completely. Then you're contemplating of, how's it different from here to the distance from here to there, and how do you get there? How many steps is it going to take? This is like having sphirot.
This is already this is the process of one chokhmah being revealed, and all of everything that will come out from chokhmah afterward. Right. Its influence on the other 9 spheres.
Mm-hmm. This is like that's right. This is the muscle of the Aliyah Zerotzen.
Aliyah Zerotzen is a state of pshitus. So.
No, it's not a state of pshitus. The content is a pshitus, but nonetheless there is 10 spheres.
We call that a helm, right? The 10 spheres that are so to speak under the influence of. Okay.
This is where we go back and forth. Look in the Lashon Hara. The Bechina Pshitus, Mikol Mokoim. Nonetheless, there is Spheres. What is this flip-flop?
Okay.
So you have to be able to understand the significance of this flip-flop. It is a flip-flop because you want to see it from 2 angles.
I should focus on that, but there's another sensitive thing that you bring up, and that's the Mina Helam. This Mina Helam is very, you call it nuanced. To understand that what this new thing is, but nonetheless you say it's under the influence of Helam. This is hard to. You explained it, I didn't get it.
There is a saying that Chachma Yisrael, a quote from Aristotle. Yideya she'eni yideya, yideya. I know what you mean, you didn't get it. Because in fact, there are two very different points being made here. Opposite being made, opposite. That's why when we go from one to the other, we call Mokon. This is Gilui, but nevertheless it's speaking of Pshitus. Gilui and Pshitus, how does that become one? And then we go back to the word emes. And we say, yes, it's completely different than Keli. Mikol Mokoin, on top of page Samar Gimel. Meyachashem Gam B'Shoshen, there is as a spheres. There's nevertheless Mikol Mokoin. This is why we went into this illustration, this mashal, this human mashal, which we should be able to so to speak, fully understand it. Understand does not mean I can grasp it with my hand. Understand means I cannot recognize the various nuances in there. A person cannot start walking any place without first identifying a target location. Moreover, you cannot start walking without identifying the direction of the walk. How's he going to get there? For example, if you perceive the spot where Solinus and Set and davens, you can't go there straight because there are tables in there. So if you think in terms of getting there, included in that perception is, yeah, I can get there by going around the tables. I cannot get there by following my eyesight. For my eyesight, I then have to further redefine that pathway.
So your eyesight is the state of Helam, so to speak.
In this respect, my eyesight is the state of Helam, even though it's only identified the location. But that eyesight includes that pathway. It contains that pathway, but Behelim.
And that's why we say the pathway is also it's a sense of pshitus.
That's right, because it's part of the site.
It's included in the original site.
In the original site. It is the site that I'm identifying with this pathway. This is that Chochmah goes into Bina. Chochmah and Bina are worlds apart. And yet Bina feeds of Chochmah. If Bina forgets about Chochmah and starts defining its own world, it lost the whole impact, of Chochmah.
So here we're calling the sighting Shlomo Yonasson's spot as that's the Chochmah.
That's the Chochmah.
And the pathway is the Bina. The Bina based on the
First
Chochmah.
you cite it as part of the entire reality. Then you cite it on a specific location. And then it goes with them, I want to get there. Once you start talking about it, I want to be there, and I want to be there. Then you recognize the proximity, the distance, in two different places. Then you say, I'm get there, then you start identifying that getting there is a completely different pathway than the sighting of it. And all that is included in the original sighting.
Is it included in the original sight of the everything?
Yes, but in a much deeper heaven. Why do we say that it's included in there? We say that it's included in there because when a person actually begins to walk there, he doesn't feel like he's nowhere. He's not walking in nothingness. He's surrounded with the entire reality that he initially perceived it.
This is bringing the point that Helam doesn't leave us, that it's going with us.
That's right. Or we go with it. We don't want to leave it. Even though we live in the world, but we don't dissociate the world from its creator. We dissociate the world from its creator, the world ceases to be a real world. Okay, Camillus, are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
With us?
Mm-hmm.
Any comments? You will see on the summary, right? All right, top line on page Samagim. Starting straight from the Mikol Mokon, okay? Few words inside the line. Mikol Mokon, yet still, even though that the oiros are bipshitus relative to the kelim, since that they are bipshitus, how can it be accomplished ultimately that the oiros should be mislavish in the kelim? Because mikomokan, that even so, even though they're bipshitus, meyachar, being that, shagam b'shor shonu mekoyer yesh b'chines sphirot, that even in the very root and source of the oyer, there is the bechina of sphirot. What does the bechina of sphirot mean? What is the bechina of sphirot? What's the difference between bechina sphirot and bechina sphirot? Sphirot is just a variation of the Yetzer. Bechinas as spheres means as spheres that are aimed at introducing something. Bechinas as spheres. Spheres that are aimed at creating an orderly fashion. Orderly means to move from place to place. And again, going back to the beginning says, even though, he says, we must not lose sight of what we already agreed before. That although that these spheres are bebchinas pshitus, are in a pshitus manner, which means that these are not 10 entities. They're not 10 entities stand alone independently. They're pshitus. Pshitus means they're a part of the Insof. How are they as spheres if they're part of the Insof? The explanation is, so to speak, they b'chinas pshitus mitzad hadveikus, due to the cleavage, u'mitzad hahischalus shelahem be'ivin soibor, and due to their incorporation in the Insof. The spheres are not seeking to self-identify. On the contrary, the spheres are essentially telling you about the Ayin Sof. Not telling you, not even telling you. They hide into the Ein Sof. They reconnect to the Ein Sof, and his counsel him. They're incorporated in the Ein Sof. They're not entities that identify themselves. They're entities that are part of the Ein Sof. This is mikomokoi. This is imhayos. This is they're bipshitos because they're there. They have this Ein Sof influence. In our Moshe, you said that there is a 360-degree awareness. Any location that you spot in this sphere remains connected to the 360-degree sphere. It is that sphere that maintains its presence. Doesn't retain its presence independently. So therefore, it's dovuk to the Ein Sof. Nonetheless, mikomokim, yet still, they have b'chinas esespheres. They have the bechina of esespheres. As we explained, what means they have the bechina of esespheres? That within this sphere, you can identify an individual location. Bipshitos, it's part of the sphere. But nonetheless, you can identify the individual location. I want to go a step deeper than that, so you'll see what the point over here is. This is, as I said, this is all within Chochmah. If we go a step deeper, in Chochmah, he said there is what's called the Munah. The Munah is awareness, the divine truth. There is no sphere. Sphere begins only at the point of awareness. Emunah does not have a sphere, is not identifiable between what's called time and space. So there is not even a possibility to speak in terms of spheres or 10 spheres. Certainly not 10 spheres.
What's the difference between Emunah and Ratzon?
Ratzon has a definition, a defining element to it. What do you want?
So this is higher. Emunah
is higher. Emunah is higher than even the Ayin Sof. Than the sphere that went, than Chochmah. Okay? So we're identifying these things so that we can understand why is the Rebbe going flip-flopping? Because yes, he's identifying a presence, but not concretely. The presence is present only because there is that higher element that maintains its presence.
Is that to say that the Emunah is like what holds up the sphere?
Yeah.
And we're using the 360 degrees or the sphere to get a feel for that. That is pshitos. It's a simple overview, and yet there's an ability to pinpoint a location.
There is a sphere includes space. even though it includes space, but the space, each liquid of the space is maintained by the same reality.
But there's time and space. That's
Time and space is a step further when we start identifying the size of the space, which is possible only if you have space. In a muna you can't identify. There's no size anymore. Okay. So we just. So he said like this. In the Ayin Soif there was a Rotz, Aliyah Rotz. Aliyah Rotzen produced a perspective of what, of a purpose, which is drawn from the Ayin Soif. But this purpose, at that point, is a purpose of the Ayin Soif. But it already incorporates so the sphirot, which is the means by which you can accomplish this purpose. At this point, the spheres are still bipshitas. It takes another couple of steps until they become self-identifying. A tzimtzum. The tzimtzum means that you remove the essential source of these spheres. The Ayin is safe. And they remove the spheres at that point. Adobuk and Menichel Ben Yisrael. Yes, they're present, but they are presence. They don't claim their own presence. Their presence representing and cleaving to the Ayin Soif. They have no self-sustenance capability. Nonetheless, Hareim b'b'chinas. Okay, now we are at the end of the second line. Hareim mikol mokeim b'b'chinas esesphiris. Now, which we have a flip perspective. That nonetheless they are b'chinas esesphiris, which means that there is an element that can ultimately, through a tzimtzum, surface. Right now, they're not nisgala, they're pshitas. But there is this element of esesphiris. And therefore, they go now on the third line. But then, as they are drawn through the tzimtzum, bebchina spheres protis bifnei atzma, they are drawn through the tzimtzum in representing spheres bifnei atzma, spheres protis, individual spheres. Initially, this is esesphiris, and this esesphiris is one entity of 10 spheres. Intermingling. Why intermingling? Because they're all imbued with the same rotzen. They take their presence directly from the rotzen. But then al-dei tzimtzum, in our moshul, this is tantamount to the step of I want to get there. Not I'm eyeing this. I want to get there. That means I want to accomplish this. Then at that point, there is the element of identifying each sphere individually. Just like I'm going to get there, I'm going to see how is the pathway to get there, and how far is it. So then, at that point, when the nimshach each sphere individually, Harei nase kol lechod, nase kol oyer b'bchinas mitzias nikeres. So then, each oyer becomes b'bchinas mitzias nikeres. Al kol ponim. It comes into the state of mitzias nikeres and identifiable mitzias. Al kol ponim. What's al kol ponim mean?
Whatever way you look at it.
No. We say it's a mitzias nikeres. We don't mean it becomes a standalone mitzias. It's identifiable. It's still totally dependent on its source. But it's identifiable. It did not step out of the reality. Mitzias nikeres al kol ponim. At the minimum, it has the inyan from mitzias nikeres, but not. If it were separated, then it's not just mitzias nikeres and al kol ponim. It is a separate mitzias. At this point, it is not a separate mitzias. It's identifiable as mitzias because the oil inside has been removed. So each mitzias has its own presence, but not independently. It speaks of its own mitzias nikeres, not of its own not of its own existence, but of what it represents from the Ayin Sof.
This is after the second symptom.
No, this is after the first symptom.
So we're saying pratyas. That doesn't help?
No.
Okay. Fine.
One second. After the first symptom, there is still b'chinas pshitus. Why pshitus? Because you're right. The pshitus because there's still dogvok in the Ayin Sof. Then there is a second symptom that brings them out individually, and then it becomes mitzias nikeres al kol ponim. Still it is connected to Ayin Sof, but it's mitzias nikeres. And when it becomes mitzias nikeres al kol ponim, arein be'erech she'islavish b'chinas hakeli. Then they are within proximity to be inserted and imbued in the aspect of kelim. Because kelim can only take a finite message. Kelim cannot take the principle that this is chokhmah that comes from Ayin Sof. Can only take this one simple message. This is chokhmah or bina, and that occurs after the second symptom, when its connection to the Ayin Sof, its connection to the Ayin Sof, the relation to its source, its recognition of its source, has been now removed. You focus on individual mitzias. That's when it becomes a sphirot protish, and then it becomes a be'erech within proximity to keli. Because initially oil and keli are shalei be'erech one another. Okay, in the parentheses, he's just alluding to that this is going to be further elaborated later on. Common Perik is boyer. In a further Perik, it will be explained. Another reason for this, another cause for this. But that cause is also dependent on this cause, as we shall see when we get there. But then, Alidei, as a result of the slapshos in the kelim, of the sphere of the oiris, mislabish in the kelim, sheho b'bchinas slapshos utfiso, which is the slapshos is not just a superficial slapshos, but it actually becomes imbued and nitfas and grasped and fully identified by the kelim. In other words, you use different means to identify it. No longer a noir means, but a kelim means. That's called tfisa. It's like, in our Moshel, it's like touching that which you see. Touching that which you see is not comparable to sight. Completely different level. And that is where the oil becomes b'bchinas mitzius. Okay, don't you mind? Nase ha'oil b'bchinas mitzius dover. Then the oil comes into a state of mitzius dover. Again, in our moshel, initially, furnishings in the room represent the oil of the room, the human quality. There's nothing to be tangibility at all. It has to do with the human, I said, human dignity. Different world. But then when that is actually represented and put into keli, then the oil itself becomes a metzius dom. What does that mean? At that point, it is possible to look at the table as representing the human dignity, because that's its source. But then you tap it further up. No, the table also provides a keli, a convenience for use in the world environment. So then this keli, this oil, becomes a metzius dom. Because the convenience and comfort is also part of the oil. But it's the oil after it becomes part of the keli. Okay? Who cares, right? Who can answer the question? Who cares?
I care.
Why? Well?
Not easy.
Huh?
Not easy answer.
This insight enables us to correlate two totally different perspectives that we have. We have a world, but we say, no, there's no world. It's a godly creation. Where does God come into it? As far as I'm concerned, it's a world. One God created the world. Does He still have an influence on it? Is He still a presence there? Do I care about that presence? This is where this leads to. This is where the question is. Did you get it? Okay, good. Okay, I hope you capture it in your typing. This is the point of the whole thing. Okay, so let's finish the last line that we started. Nasa Oiv Bechinas Metzias Dover. The oil becomes in a Seder Metzias Dover. Bechinas Oil HaChochma, an oil that identifiable with Chochma exclusively. Oil HaChesed, Kifim Muzak Keli. Fitting and completely identified and defined by the Mahus, by the reality of the Keli. It's no longer oil, in a certain sense. Understand? Convenience and comfort is keli. It's rooted in oil, but it becomes keli. Okay, so this is it for this moment.
Yeah.